Hello. I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Brilliant. I'm just going to make you big screen. Brilliant. Can you see me and can you hear me?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Brilliant.
I can't smell you.
It's probably a good thing. How are
How are we
you?
doing? I beat you to it there. How you doing?
I'm good. And you?
Yeah, all right. All right. What have you been up to today?
I've had lectures all of this morning, and then just had some lunch, and now I've been waiting for this.
What is it you do at the minute, Georgia? Like where you at with, I don't know, like are you working? Are you university in?
All
What's
of
your
the above. So, I work is this recorded? Is it like
Yeah, we're on.
okay? Okay. I wasn't sure whether we were going to go straight into the recording thing.
Great and no
Okay.
messing.
So I must answer it properly, yeah?
Please.
So yeah, so I'm working part-time at BFG and then full-time university student at Loughborough.
Okay, okay. How is it juggling all that sort of stuff together? Like, so you're training quite a few days twice a day.
Yep,
You're coaching at BFG, CrossFit
yep,
BFG, and you're doing a full-time course, correct?
full-time.
Okay. How is juggling all that?
Most of the time it feels a little bit like I'm juggling chainsaws.
Okay,
But it's things that I'm super passionate about, so it doesn't feel well, it feels like hard work, but I know that I want to be doing those things. So
okay.
it's busy. The days are long, the days are busy, but I wouldn't be doing anything else.
Course, because before you went to uni this year, you were coaching and doing a bit more PTing and stuff as well. That was like your full-time gig, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
so all I was doing was coaching and training.
yeah.
So
So
it's a
what
very big change.
what kind of made the change to what made you decide you wanted to go to uni and all that sort of stuff?
I think the biggest catalyst was after the knee injury.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of made me think about where I was, what I wanted to be doing long term. Because obviously, being competitive in a sport is fantastic and coaching is brilliant. But I was looking a little bit longer term ahead.
Okay.
And I have different passions. I have other passions, and it got me thinking that maybe I wanted to start dabbling in a little bit more of those. And yeah, applied, didn't really know if I was going to be able to get into university or not, did, and just went for it.
To confirm as well, you're not doing a sport degree, are you?
No, I'm,
Do you
I'm
want
selling my soul in a maths degree.
to? People will be watching this and thinking, you are crazy. You've gone from coaching and, doing whatever and training to now doing a maths degree.
Yeah, I think I'm crazy sometimes as well.
Yeah. Oh, love it. You came first on the JST Athlete Leaderboard for 25.1.
I actually can't believe it. I'm sure
That's the
you
only
can't believe
leaderboard.
it either.
That's the only leaderboard we know that matters. But yeah, top score from all GST athletes, including your Jens, your Ellas, your Philroys, your old school Mitches. Yeah, you took the bullet. You took the bullet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the fitness magically appeared from somewhere. Um,
You're
yeah, I
too
don't, I
modest.
don't know how I pulled that out the bag.
How was 25.1? Like when you saw it, what were the initial reactions and then, doing it as well?
Um, Kind of going into the open, this I'm sure most people this year is a little bit different from other years. The reasons why they're doing it, I think, differs from person to person. But when I kind of went into it the first time, I just really wanted to enjoy it, and it's a low skill workout. I was doing it with a bunch of people at the gym, so I went into it and just thought, I'm going to enjoy this workout, push hard but enjoy it. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun. We've obviously been doing a lot of conditioning pieces in the program at the moment. So I felt, I don't know if you ever have those workouts where you just feel like you're on top of it the entire time. Obviously got a reasonably good score the first time, and then obviously the redo thoughts start tickling your brain. The second time I did it, every minute was a struggle because I knew I wanted to get a little bit of a higher score, and it was a hard push.
Yeah.
Um, Very hard. But I don't know, I was yeah. Yeah, it was good.
So that when you first did it, did you feel like a bit more like flow state? You kind of just got into the workout and it just kind of, yeah.
100%, 100%.
Would you say that's like a wheelhouse workout for you as well? Do you know what I mean? Like what?
Not necessarily. Maybe like not recently, I wouldn't say.
Okay.
Not coming back. Like I wouldn't ever say that I've got the biggest engine.
Right.
But so I honestly don't know how I pulled it out the bag.
All that
Yeah.
fitness, all that conditioning you've been doing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you did it when you did it on Friday. Did you how did you do it? What was the setup like? Were you in classes of doing kind of Friday Night Lights vibe? And then obviously when you did it Monday, what was the vibe then? Was it a bit more like serious? What was the yeah.
Yeah, so Friday was in a class, and the
Okay.
first time I've actually done the open workouts with other people, first time in ages.
Okay.
Previous years I've done it just by myself, logistics wise, and made it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
So yeah, Friday night I threw down with some of the other members, and that was brilliant. And then when I redid it on Monday, I did it Monday afternoon, and that was just by myself. I had Caitlin obviously judging me, a couple of people at the gym, but
yeah,
that was probably I prefer doing qualifiers by myself. Just
yeah.
less to go wrong. Um,
Yes. Agreed.
and yeah, so that was nice. You can play your own music, you can do what you want. And then I did it, yeah, by myself on Monday afternoon.
So when did you decide that you were going to redo? Because obviously, when we kind of chatted, the last few months, it was like, yeah, we're going to do the open. We're not going to like, take it too seriously, but we're going to give it a good go. Like, what kind of flicked the switch to be like, actually, I want to give this a go.
I think after kind of seeing where my score was sitting on Friday, and I was very happy with my initial score. The whole weekend, I was very content that that was going to be one and done.
Yeah,
And then you start looking at the leaderboard and you start seeing other people crop up above you. And I thought, I wonder, because it felt really good on Friday. It didn't
yeah,
feel like I'd overexerted myself. So I thought, I wonder if I could potentially get a little bit higher. Um, in this. I'm currently placed quite well. If I did it again, where would I sit? And I started kind of tinkering with those thoughts in my head. And then Monday rolled around, and unfortunately, Mondays for me at university are insane. I've got lectures from 9 until 5, so I
yeah.
thought that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, luckily enough, my last lectures got moved to the
Okay.
next day. So maybe the open gods were looking down on me and thinking, yeah, this girl needs another try at this. And then when I knew that I wasn't going to have those lectures, I was going to finish at 3. It was a
So,
no-brainer for me. Leave no stone unturned. Let's go. Let's just do it, and let's see how it gets on.
I feel like because you've done that now, you've just got to commit to doing redos every week now. That's it.
Yeah, full regret.
Do you know what though? I feel like it's one of those where when I was like taking the open, more seriously, trying to get to regionals and stuff back in the day. If in my mind I was like not sure or telling myself, oh, I don't think I'm going to redo, but you probably knew you were going to redo. That was
Yeah,
more stressful than just being like, right, each week I'm just going to redo the workout, like you say, to leave no one stone turned. That was like less stressful
yeah.
accepting that than being
Yeah,
like,
because then you don't have to overthink it. It's just that is the decision. I think we did that with the French throwdown qualifiers, and that was quite nice.
yeah,
Knowing, okay, we've done it once now, let's do it again. It wasn't that, oh, I wonder if this is good enough. I wonder
yeah.
if I can do better. Um,
Because the uncertainty is stressful. It's really
yeah,
stressful.
yeah, because you spend a lot of unintentional mental energy thinking about it. Um,
Yes. You do,
yeah,
you do. And it's also like it's the uncertainty, but it's also I think because in your head you're like, did I give my best effort? Or, can I do better?
Yeah,
When you, because sometimes, like, yeah, I could go better. Like for you for that workout, you were like, you finished it and you were like, right, I feel like I do have more to give there.
yeah,
But sometimes you kind of like, oh, I wonder if I just paced it or did this a little bit differently. I wonder if this would be quicker. And to just
yeah.
answer those questions as well, I think again just kind of takes that stress down if you're like, right, I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it a slightly different way.
Yeah, I
So
think something you said on one of the previous qualifiers we did, and almost treating it as more of an explorative task and seeing, not
it,
necessarily aiming, well, obviously aiming to get a better score, but
yeah,
not putting the pressure of it having to be a better score and just using it as a
cool.
explorative measure was also quite
Because
good.
I mean, hardly ever, like, I guess during the year and during training, do you repeat the same workout, a couple of times in a week or even like
Yeah.
over, weeks. The usual format where we've maybe done it is like intervals that are the same movements, but you would take them on a different way. So, like, as well, it is interesting to find out, like, if I do this whole workout a different way, pace it slightly differently, like, will I
How
go
would it
faster?
go? Yeah.
So I think looking at workouts like that is probably much more, uh, yeah, much nicer.
I think so. Less stress.
Yes, yeah, which is what we want. We want less stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's enough stress with work, uni, all these other things already.
Yeah,
So
100%.
what going into this year, I feel like, in fact, let's give a little bit of background to what you've done kind of previous years as well, because I feel like just so people have got a better, understanding of who you are. So you're 24, you're still pretty young.
Yeah. Yep.
When like just gives an idea when you started CrossFit, where and how that kind of journey's progressed since.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I started CrossFit in 20 late end of 2019, but probably got into it early 2020. Probably not unfamiliar for a lot of people getting into CrossFit. I was quite severely anorexic before I started CrossFit. Got a
okay.
very A-type personality. Found CrossFit and thought, I like this. I like this a lot. I wanna put some time and effort into this. Realized quite quickly that not eating a lot and trying to be a high performance athlete wasn't going to work out very well. And actually, interesting enough, had a conversation with Lucy Madge.
Yeah.
She was working at the gym that I started working at, and said to her, when I had no right to say it, I said, I want to be a competitive CrossFit athlete. When I was probably weighing about 35 kilos and couldn't do a toaster bar. And she was like, all right, go for it. And I committed a lot of time and effort. I was just addicted. I loved it. And I'm sure that will resonate with a lot of people that kind of get into CrossFit. It's very addictive. Um, and functional fitness, and then kind of put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and started getting better and enjoying the process of improving and competing. And yeah, that was kind of the how I got into it.
Do you
Um,
mind if I just touch on the anorexia thing
yeah,
first?
100%.
What like what when you started CrossFit, uh, you know, being in kind of that condition, like how was it and what kind of I don't know, like just kind of talk through the steps of how you kind of ended up accepting and transitioning into being like, oh, I do actually want to do this. I want to eat more from being like, oh, I'm probably not going to eat, uh, much if anything at all. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was probably quite a weird time. I'd been struggling with my food quite a lot for the probably since I was 15 to 18, and struggled with it probably until I'd say maybe 3 years ago. It was still an on and off kind of mental battle.
Yeah.
Um, but the kind of overarching thing that was pushing me was aesthetics, how I was
Right.
feeling in my body, um, how I kind of perceived myself. And then when I got into CrossFit, my main aim completely changed. Um, I didn't really care about how I looked anymore because I had external goals, I had performance goals, I had things that I wanted to be able to do, and they were more important to me than anything else, than how I was eating, how I was looking, um,
Were
and
you
they, yeah.
were you into sport, in that period before you did CrossFit or before, you were 15 years old? Like what had you done before?
I was lucky enough growing up being in South Africa, sports massive. So
Yeah.
I did everything and anything you can think of. The schools that I went to, I was lucky enough to get involved in everything. So I was very active growing up.
Okay.
Um, Everything.
Yeah.
Ballet, running, swimming, diving, tennis. I wasn't very good at tennis, but everything and anything. Probably when I got into CrossFit, I thought this is great because you got to be pretty average at everything, but you got to do everything, and that's definitely what I was like growing up.
So then that period of when, you're 15 to 18, like were you training for any sports then, or was it like purely, you were doing it more for like aesthetics? Like I don't know. Yeah. What?
Um, so at the time I was running loads, and that was
Okay.
definitely a motivator for aesthetics.
Yeah.
I did ballet to a reasonably high level as well, stopped around about 18.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of stayed involved with keeping active. I went to the gym loads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was active a lot at the time.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So then, I don't know how were you kind of first exposed to CrossFit and then kind of getting into this world?
So my sister's boyfriend at the time, and he'll probably take all of the credit for me getting into CrossFit. He kind of knew I was big into fitness, and he's like, "You've really got to try out this CrossFit thing." And I was like, "Oh, I'm not so sure, not so sure." And then one day I was like, "Okay," found a gym that was near me, went and tried it out, and it was one of those classic old school CrossFit gyms it was down in kind of the basement of this one shopping mall. It was tiny. I think it had like one rower, couple of barbells, rough as guts, but it was brilliant because I'd never been exposed to fitness, especially as a female. You see guys doing great things all the time, and I think that has shifted recently. But as a female, I was like, these people are doing amazing things. They're strong, they look awesome, they're muscly. I want to be doing what they're doing. So kind of saw that and I was like, this is amazing.
So was
Um,
that the point when you kind of saw Lucy doing it as well, and yeah, that kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
it.
So I only met her when I moved to the UK. So that was in South Africa that I tried
Okay, right, okay, yeah.
CrossFit for the first time. I was just in awe. I was like a kid standing in a candy shop with all these things that I've never seen before. It was just brilliant.
So you kind of start dabbling in it, and then how does that kind of progress from there? Was it a case where uh, you were just doing classes initially? Were you kind of trying to piece your own bits and bobs together? What competitions did you do? Did you do any competitions in South Africa before you came to the UK? Yeah, paint a little picture of how all that kind of played out.
So I initially when I started CrossFit, I was very different to what I am now. I couldn't do a strict pull up, couldn't do toes to bar. So initially it was just I jumped into classes mainly, did a little bit of stuff on the side.
Okay.
Um, but it was mainly classes, just learning the movements, um, doing everything and enjoying that kind of process of getting better.
Yeah.
Um, didn't didn't really know what avenues I was going to take in terms of competition. It was mainly
Yeah.
just aiming to get better.
Yeah.
Um, and then COVID hit, obviously. So
Course.
during COVID, I was lucky enough, the gym that I was working at, they gave us loads of kits. Um,
Were you in South Africa at this point, or did you
No, I
move?
was in the UK. I was in the
Okay.
UK. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, lucky enough, the gym that I was working at, they kind of gave us coaches quite a bit of kits. So I spent the entirety of lockdown training, which was brilliant. And kind of came back and had improved a significant amount. And then that year was first open kind of back in the gyms.
Yeah.
I think I did the first competition I ever did was European Champs.
Okay.
which was probably a bit of a jump into the deep end, going from never competed ever before to a first RX comp at European Champs. But I qualified and I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. Went to that, loved it. And then quite quickly after that was the Open, did the Open, qualified for the quarters, and then I was lucky enough to qualify for semis. So it kind of went from zero to everything very quickly, which was great.
It's pretty good when when you kind of put all that kind of out and you're like, right, oh, started training a bit more and a bit more for kind of CrossFit during lockdown and came out the back of lockdown, never done any competitions or anything before, did European champs. Then the next year, did quarters, qualified for semi-final.
Yeah, it was a bit insane, but at the same time it was brilliant and it was awesome. It was a big learning experience, and I did feel like a lot of times I was maybe um doing something a bit too big for my boots, but at the same time it was just great.
Where does GST kind of fit into all this?
So after I did semis,
Yeah.
um
Which was
I
in South Africa,
yeah,
correct?
in
Yeah.
South Africa, I kind of thought to myself, I'm not too bad at this thing, at this whole CrossFit thing.
Yeah.
I would like to try and make the most of what I'm able to do in terms of fitness and my ability in this space. And I'd actually jumped onto the JC programming in prior to going to semis, and I really enjoyed the kind of way that you guys programmed. It's work for me. I know, yeah, I don't know. I was really attracted to the structure, the style. It was really nice. So coming out of semis, I knew a few people that had done JST, and there was no other program that I had come across that I was really
Like you know,
attracted to wanting
yeah.
to do. So I think I popped you guys a message and said, look, looking for individual programming, wanted something that I could take a bit more seriously and have that kind of vice versa relationship. Me knowing I wanted to put a lot of effort into this, and whoever I was going to invest in putting the same amount of effort back.
Yeah.
And I think we had a conversation and it's been history since then.
How coming back to it a little bit, how was that first experience at semi-finals? Because I mean, I don't know how kind of key kind of did you watch all like the CrossFit sort of videos and that sort of stuff? Like when you went to semi-finals, did you kind of grasp the whole like, holy shit, like I'm at semi-finals here? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
were you shitting your pants or were you a bit like, oh, I'm here to kind of, I don't know, compete and see, I don't know, do you know what I mean? Because I think I remember the first time I qualified for regionals on a team, like I was still pretty new to CrossFit really, and I was a bit like, I don't think I quite grasped the first year kind of what it meant really. It was all very strict, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you were kind of just rolling with the punches and not fully
Yeah.
processing it all.
Just kind of
Um,
like dragged along by the people I was training with. I'm like, right, oh, this is regionals. This is what we do, and yeah,
yeah, I think yeah, looking back, it was wild. It was amazing. I try when I obviously compete. I know everyone looks at it slightly differently, but I just want to enjoy it. I want
yeah,
to have these experiences. There's no point in doing something if you don't enjoy it. So, um, I obviously got the opportunity to go out and go home, which is great. Go back to South Africa, which also was an amazing part of being able to go to semis in South Africa. Um, and it was just amazing competing against insane athletes. I know obviously the standard is slightly different, but it was still brilliant, brilliant
oh,
athletes that I could compete against and hold my own, which was brilliant at the time. And put myself in an environment of incredible, incredible people. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Very motivating,
Yeah.
sometimes very humbling, but coming away feeling very pushed and ready to get back to the grind and work hard to go back.
Uh, so obviously then we started working together, which was great, which is great. Shock to the system when we first started. Like, oh, who's
My
this South
system or your
African lass
system?
here? The accent, the energy that you have, I was like, right, okay, this is someone who, I really want to work with. Just like very, I mean, you're not positive all the time, but when you came, first impressions like loads of energy, seemed pretty positive, really fun. Um, yeah, straight away I was like, would love to work with this person. We're still here today,
Yeah.
3 years later, 3 years later. Um, so then we started working together, uh, and we were getting. We'd done quarterfinals, done the opener, we'd done quarterfinals, and then what happened? Let's chat about what happened next.
So I think it was maybe a month before semis 2023. Must
Correct.
have been 2023. Had qualified for semis, which would have been the second time.
Can you remember roughly where you qualified for semis that second time?
There, I can have a glancey glance. I can have a quick look. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe fifth in Africa, but
Okay, and
don't
at
hold
that
that.
time, how many qualified for the games?
From Africa,
Yeah.
still one, and I think it's
Okay.
still one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to look back, but I can't remember, so I'm not sure 100%, but I think it
Roughly
was
fifth then. We'll go with
yeah.
fifth-ish.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was I think when I qualified the first time it was just I scraped in, so it was a big improvement within that short period of time that we'd obviously started work together. There was a
Yeah.
big improvement in qualifying for the second time round.
Yeah. Go on, continue your story of we're a month before semis, second
So
time
month
round.
before semis, came up to Wigan, semis training camp with Jen and Ella,
Right.
which was amazing because they're obviously both incredibly insane athletes. So I was getting pushed quite hard there. Was having a brilliant time doing a workout, which I think was pistols, dumbbell clean and jerks, or just dumbbell
I think so.
jerks.
Yeah.
And the legless rope climbs.
Mhm.
Um, and was winning the workout, maybe pushing a bit too hard. Ego got in the way, who knows? And unfortunately lost my grip on a rope climb, came down a little bit too quick and snapped my ACL and tore both my meniscuses, which was a bit of a slap in the face. But it happens. It happens. Um,
How can you remember how you felt like, I don't know, the immediately after and then when you found out what had happened, how you felt then?
So I think immediately after it happened, I was trying to convince myself that it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
My immediate thoughts were, it's okay. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. And then I think that night when it started swelling up, it got really massive really quick, and I was like, yeah, I've done something really bad here.
Mhm.
And then I think I did go to A&E that night, but it was maybe 2, 3 days after, a really good mate who ended up being my physio, Rich Robotham. I saw him back home, so I drove home from Wigan, saw
Yeah.
him back home, and he took one look at it and he's like, "Yeah, you've torn your ACL here for sure." Um, Lucky enough, was able to see someone quite quickly who could
Mhm.
take an MRI, and quite quickly realized that I'd torn it completely, ripped to shreds both my meniscus, and it was gonna need surgery. So the reality of semis obviously not happening, but my kind of progress in CrossFit and personally was coming to a very swift standstill because of the knee. Came very real very quick. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
yeah, it
really,
was a bit insane at the time looking back.
it was because we literally we'd gone from right, uh, you know, as the goal is to get as close to that podium as we could to get a good picture for like the year or two after to be like, right, what do we need to do to make the games in the next couple of years? Those were the kind of thoughts,
Yeah,
the
100%,
ideas we had.
100%.
And then like you say, for it just to be kind of taken away so quickly, it's just like
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bigger slap in the face.
It was hard, very hard. Um, yeah, it was a challenging time.
Yeah, I think it was good. What was good is how quickly you managed to like put things in motion, like for the surgery and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
That all happened, from what I remember, quite
pretty
quickly in the
swift.
grand scheme of things.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very quick turnover. Um, I was lucky enough to get a really good surgeon.
Hmm.
And then it was the kind of, I think, which was very good from tearing it to having the surgery and beginning rehab. That middle part was really quick. So there was no time to kind of sit on it. It
Yeah,
was, this has happened. We're having surgery. All right, now let's start rehabbing it and getting it back.
yeah.
So there was no time to dwell on it really, and it happened. I wasn't gonna go to bed and wake up the next morning and was gonna magically be reattached. It was what it was.
Yeah.
Um, and then it was just rehab.
Uh, f from my mind as well, when we did get back to, being able to do stuff again, for me, it was important uh, to make sure that you felt like you were kind of, as well as like calling it rehab, to like start training again.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and to put that idea in your mind of like, right, okay, we've got rehab to do, but we're back to being able to do training now and work
yeah,
on things that like, longer term are gonna benefit us.
yeah. I
And
think one of the best things um in the whole process of getting back to where I am now was having you and being able to have someone else that was there to kind of support the training. Because I know a lot of people, when you get injured, you kind of think, oh, I can't do anything. I can't make any improvements. I've got this massive thing that's stopping me. But it wasn't the case. We had loads of stuff to work on along the kind of alongside the knee training. It
Mhm.
was rehab, but it was
Yeah,
still training.
yeah,
And not ever feeling like I wasn't making any improvements, which was
cool.
brilliant.
I
Yeah.
think the balance of having like bit of support from me for the training, the support from Rich for your rehab and that kind of communication that we had as a three to be like, right, okay, this is how we're gonna progress the knee training as well as like the other bits and bobs. It was just a really nice balance of like us all working together. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, when they do get injured, as you said, it's like, I feel like I can't do anything now. So, uh, what tends to happen is like they'll cancel the program, and it's like they'll just lose all this direction and all this structure that they had to go to having nothing. And it's
Yeah.
just like it really frustrates me that because it's like, right, rather than thinking, oh, I can't do anything, it's like just pivot. You might end up working on something that's your strength, but you're still at least improving it, and you've got the structure in place there, which
Yeah.
is better than just losing everything completely. And if you can
100%.
have a relationship like we did as a three and have someone else that can support you a bit more on the rehab side, like great, have those conversations.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I definitely wouldn't have gotten back to where I am now 100% if it wasn't for the support system around me. So yourself, for Rich, just having a bit more direction, and trusting in trusting in you guys as well, knowing that obviously Rich was gonna provide me insight into kind of how quickly I need to progress with the knee stuff, what I can do, what I can't do. You taking that and developing a really good program alongside that was fantastic. Yeah.
and like, in honesty from my perspective as well, it's like I needed that information from Rich because he was there. That's his expertise, and he was there to kind of guide you, and that kind of helped me to then provide the structure and the progressions that were needed going
Yeah.
forward. So it worked really, really well.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, looking back, it was really smooth. It was a very smooth transition throughout the whole progress, I think.
Yeah. What did you find particularly hard though through that kind of through that year? Once you'd done your knee, what do you remember being like the hardest thing?
I think most of it, I think I dealt with reasonably well. Um, I kind of from the off decided that there was no point in getting upset about it. It was what it was. I
Mhm.
can't change it. The only thing I can do is try work towards getting it healthy, not only for the sport that we do, but just for life. I don't want to have something holding me back. I'm a very outgoing person. I like to do a lot of things, so I wanted to get it healthy again, and I focused on that. Instead of thinking about the end goal and how quickly I was going to be able to get back to there, I just focused on getting it healthy, taking it slow, and being really diligent with the rehab. But I think on occasion, what I struggled with was thinking that I would never be able to achieve the things that I'd achieved in the past and never be able to do the things that I could once do. And that was challenging.
Mhm.
Looking back, scrolling back through Instagram and all the cool things that I'd done, and how good I had gotten just before I tore it. Um, yeah, those things felt really unattainable a lot of the time, and that was really upsetting.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Did the surgeon or Rich like ever say it's a very slim chance you'll get back to where you were or anything like that or not?
To be honest, Rich was great. I think he had a really good insight into kind of CrossFit, the movements that we do, and he was really supportive. It's
Yeah, of
hard. Everyone's recovery is different, and
course.
everyone's journey post-op is different. Um, I was given advice from surgeons, but I guess they've got to cover their own backs. They are very conservative with what they say you can and can't do post-surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I was told that I might not be able to do ever again. There were things that I can do now that I said, no, you shouldn't do that. But I can do them now and I'm absolutely safe. I have no issues and no pain and touch wood, yeah. So, but I guess, yeah, having the support from Rich, who was be able to kind of take what was said from the surgeons,
Yeah.
and put that kind of into context and maybe settle some of the thoughts that I was having. And I wasn't stupid. Like I took my rehab very slow. I listened to my body. It was a long, long journey. It wasn't like 2 months that I was back. We kind of, I don't know, it's almost been 2 years.
Yeah, it's seriously, yeah, it has
So,
been. I tell you
um,
what, for me as a coach, what is really unbelievable is um how like diligent you were in just kind of following the plan, not getting ahead of yourself. You just like, I mean, every 2 weeks it was like we got an update from Rich and we just kind of adjusted the next kind of week or two's training from there and we kind of stuck with that. And then we gradually built up the range of motion that you could, do, like strengthen it a little bit first, build up that range of motion, build up the strength a little bit more, like before actually, adding weight and everything else, like you say, until fast forward all the way to now, where we're almost 2 years later,
yeah, which is
like
insane.
PB in pretty much every lift. Um,
Yeah, I can't think, bar from a back squat, but
okay.
bar from that, I think 100% without a shadow of a doubt, I am as fit and as strong today as I've ever been. Um,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of it has to do with dialing things back and
Mhm.
building it up within the
Yeah.
last 2 years. I think it was a bit of a blessing in disguise, really. I don't think I'd be where I am today if it wasn't for the knee. Who
I,
knows? You never know.
it's
That's
true.
That's what I'm telling myself, but you never know.
It's true. It did allow us to kind of, right, it was like, right, well, the only thing we can do to start off with is just lay some really fucking good solid foundations to start.
Yeah,
Which we
100%.
did. I think what from a coaching perspective as well. So I probably argue that, the injury that you had is the worst, or like the most serious injury I've ever had that an athlete's had. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. And it was just interesting how it was like, right, okay, we're going to lay down these foundations, um, and if you do that correctly, which we've done really well, we've come 2 years later, and again, we've not really had any issues as such.
no,
It was surprising how much I found as well, like how much tension, not just through your legs, like strength through your legs, but tension through your body would like differed as well. Because there was a point where especially, yeah, like quite lax in one side and struggling to kind of find tension on one side, which you obviously injured. But then the other side was kind of, yeah, so we had to do like loads of core work and stuff as well, which people are probably
yeah,
like, oh, I didn't think about doing that when, doing my single leg stuff, trying to balance things out again. It's like,
yeah.
it kind of affects the whole body, not just,
Yeah, it was immense. I think the biggest thing was when I obviously had the injury, had the surgery, and I was in a brace for 8 weeks. I
yeah,
lost a significant amount of muscle mass, not only in the leg, but in my calf, in,
yeah,
like you said, the whole side of my body, the shoulder, posterior shoulder. It was
yeah,
just enormous, the amount of muscle and of strength that I lost on that side.
yeah,
And it definitely did take a lot of hard work getting it back.
yeah.
And still is taking work. It's not 100%, but
It's
it's
true
going to be
because,
ongoing.
like you mentioned about your after doing 25.1 again, just feeling that little bit of tension on that side, with your knee and with your calf a little bit, and it's like your calf's maybe still working a little bit harder than it should be doing.
100%.
So that it's still not 100%, and it maybe might not ever be, but we just got to manage it and
Yeah, yeah. And
do
I
our
think for
best.
me, priority number one is having a healthy body and moving safely, lifting safely, doing everything safely. And if I can do that at a high intensity, and brilliant. But yeah, always being mindful that I wanna do things safely so I can do them again tomorrow instead of
Yeah.
absolutely sending it and not being able to move for a week.
Uh, since you've been able to kind of train and not worry about the knee as much, like how's it been in the sense of how do you feel like you've started to look at training now, and that whole kind of process really? Do you feel like you've changed a lot since, before, after? What do you feel like has changed?
I think I definitely have a much bigger appreciation of things that I can do now,
Yeah.
because they got taken away from me for a very long time. Like I couldn't squat for ages, I couldn't Olympic lift, I couldn't jump, I couldn't row, I couldn't skip.
Mhm.
Like there was such a slim number of things that I could do that being back and being able to do things is just every day I can do it. It's brilliant and
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much and I love it. Um, and I think also training, training is such a big part of my life. So yeah, I just love it and I definitely look at it differently. Previously, training was primarily to kind of get to a high level and stuff like that, but it's much more now because of it having been taken away. And I've worked, it wasn't just, oh yeah, I did loads of fitness and I got to super high level, and I'm competing and it's great. I have done that, but I've had to work very hard to get back to where I am now.
Yeah.
So every day where I do something cool and I lift a PB, I'm proud of myself for being able to do that again. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Good. I think one of the other things that, like I say, when I first met, you seemed like full of energy, really positive person. But I think something else that you said is like you know, you are kind of you were kind of training to get to a high level, and you still are, and you are pretty hard on yourself sometimes. You know, sometimes your first thing is like, oh, like that could have been better. That didn't wasn't very good, or X, Y, Z. For me, it's kind of reminding you, it's like, right, let's take some positives out of this situation rather than going straight to the negatives. But it is good because it's like, right, we've got stuff to work on. We know we've got stuff to work on, but at the same time, it's like we've got to keep reminding you to be like, right, what have we done well? Let's take some good things out of this too, so we can build ourselves up a little bit more.
Yeah,
Have
have
you
some
always
positive
been,
reinforcement.
yeah, have you always been, I don't know, kind of hard on yourself in that sense, like always trying to get more out of your, do you know what I mean? More out yourself?
Yeah, I think especially when I know I can do well at something.
Yeah,
Um yeah, I definitely like to I'm very competitive. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. I'm very
yeah,
competitive. I like to know that I've done the best that I can physically do. So yeah, sometimes I don't think I don't feel like I have, and obviously environments sometimes doesn't allow that, especially being super busy.
yeah,
So for me, inside I know I've done a good job, but it's almost a reminder of, okay, you've done a good job, but this is what you need to work on going forward. Like
yeah.
if you want to get better, here's that motivation. Yeah, and maybe it's not the best thing being super critical of myself, but I do feel like it's a motivator and a reminder of you've got this. You can work on that. You can work on that. Yeah. Yeah.
What other stuff do you like for you? Do you feel like you need to work on as well? Um,
In sense of like fitness or
just
life
like could be
or
fitness, could be yeah, just anything. Just like if you were to name like one of your bigger things that you like, right? Yeah, kind of need to, you know, do that to help unlock that next level. Maybe what is there anything that sticks out to you?
I don't know. I feel like fitness is the only thing that I really have a good grasp on. If you ask anyone that knows me well, I'm a bit of a pinball machine really. I'm a bit all over the place most of the time. Um so yeah, I don't know.
When
Yeah.
you say you're a pinball machine, what do you mean by that?
Um I don't know. Uh I feel like how do I explain it? I'm very ADHD, so yeah, I don't like to take myself too seriously.
Yeah,
Um, obviously, training is a different thing because I want to do well in that, so I take aspects of it quite seriously.
yeah,
But in most of other areas of my life, I just want to have a good time, and
yeah.
enjoy it, and that sometimes comes out, and yeah, yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
Okay, okay. Um, what going forward? What's the plan? What's the plan for this year? What have you got lined up? What are you going to do?
For competitions.
Competition, training? Yeah,
So competitions wise, I think we've got a couple of things dabbling in the books. Potentially do SID individuals. Got a couple of teams comps that are potentially thinking about
yeah,
BF3, doing team potentially individual for that as well.
yeah,
And then maybe some things later on in the year. Yeah, kind of just taking it one day at a time, enjoying it, trying to be the best that I possibly can be. That's always the goal. 1% every inch every day. Um, yeah, and just enjoying it. Just enjoying everything that life's got to offer, training, uni, work, keeping busy, and enjoying every step.
What to enjoy it? What are your things that you do to help you keep that enjoyment aspect?
I think in terms of training, I most of the time really enjoy training by myself. I
Yeah,
know some people enjoy training with others, but majority of the time I thoroughly enjoy training by myself. However, I do occasionally like to, the JC training camps are great. They are really awesome, brilliant people. If you've not been to them, go to them. They're great. Um, doing stuff like that. Going home, I've got a really good group of friends back home that we train together, and that's really great fun as well. And just keeping these kind of pockets of things around, just to keep things fun, exciting, not too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But you predominantly like train on your own. What kind of made you dabble in team that like want to dabble in, doing some team bits this year? What was the yeah,
There's there's no harm, is there?
it's not.
Do you know what? I think prior to the injury, I was quite dead set on doing individual stuff. And maybe it's because I hadn't found people that I clicked with or felt like would be right for me to do team with.
Yeah.
And then obviously got approached by Jamie War about doing team with him and a couple of others. And I thought, why not? It's not gonna disadvantage me by training with a bunch of other people who are just as, if not more fit than I am. It's going to make me a better person, a better athlete, and it's great fun because you get to train with others. So yeah, I didn't see any reason why not to, and it has been great having the motivation from others, bit of banter, still training by myself, but having a couple of others to kind of bounce off of every now and again has been really cool, really cool.
How when you do train on your own, so say I don't know, say you've got one of your morning conditioning sessions. Um, how do you get up out of bed for them in the sense of like they're probably not that fun doing them morning conditioning sessions, or maybe you do make them fun somehow. I don't know. You
I
tell me.
I think normally when my alarm goes off at 5 o'clock, I think, why the hell am I doing this to myself? Yeah, there's a lot of internal regret when the first alarm goes off. But on the days that I do go in and I train, I love the session. It's good. Some are hard, some are good, and some days I think it's stupid to think that you're going to enjoy training every single day. And
That is true.
it's not realistic.
Yeah.
However, I like a couple of days where maybe like on rest days when I don't get up or when I don't have that much training and I don't get up in the morning to train, I just don't enjoy it. I feel so much more accomplished. I have so much more purpose in my day and in my life if I wake up and I do these things. I feel like I've achieved something. Yeah. So it really doesn't take that much. My alarm goes off. I put the kettle on for a cup of coffee, and that's how my day starts. It just is
Yeah.
part of it's not a, oh, I have to do this, but I get to do this and it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's that positive Georgia that when we first met. That yeah, that's is seeing it as like I get to do this, and I think the what happened with the knee probably only has what's the word, accelerated, accentuated, multiplied, that as well. So yeah, what I don't know, next couple of years. Obviously, how many years you got left at uni?
After this year, I still got another 3. So
So after
another
this year, you still
3 years.
got another 3 years.
I know I'm gonna be so old when I finish.
Well, you'll be 30 at that point. So you're going to be juggling uni, I guess, with coaching, and this is going to be your lifestyle for the next couple of years, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What's like within, fitness and CrossFit and all this sort of stuff? What are the aspirations, or is it just kind of see what happens, or yeah,
I think, yeah, kind of keep doing what we're doing.
yeah,
It's obviously working, so I'm not going to stop. And yeah, my goal, I think even in the first session kind of call we had, and it's never changed. My goal is to be the best version of myself that I can be, whatever that means. So continue to do that, and try and get better every day. I just keep getting better. Definitely compete. Try try and push into some of the slightly higher level comps in the UK. That would be
okay,
really good. I'd really
yeah,
like to do that. Try get on some podiums. I want to put it out into the universe, so hopefully it comes out. I don't want
yeah,
to listen to this back and regret what I
manifest
said,
it. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, try get on some podiums in the UK. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Just keep doing what I'm doing.
I guess tips for people who, so I'm going to give you a few different scenarios. Just
Yep.
starting out doing CrossFit. Let's
Yep.
start with that. What's like your best advice to someone who's kind of maybe seen it and maybe like, go on then.
I think best advice is get yourself in a gym
Yeah.
with a good bunch of coaches that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think I was really lucky. The coaches that I started training with, they were super knowledgeable, really supportive, really focused on moving well, technique, um, and yeah, that was brilliant. Get yourself in a gym. Um, you learn quickly. It's an amazing environment. I think there is something incredible about a community like that. So yeah, get yourself in a gym, do
Yeah.
that. Sign up.
Okay.
Don't regret it.
Next situation. Someone who's thinking about maybe joining GST.
Do it. You'll never look back.
Why?
Just it's a group of people that are passionate about the same thing. They're like-minded. The coaches know so much. I think one thing that I was speaking to someone about the other day is there's loads of online coaches these days. But the difference between that and JST, there's loads of coaches. They can bounce off of each other. There's such a wealth of knowledge that you're going to benefit from. And the community and the athletes doing that are awesome. You're going to meet people that are going to push you. You're going to make friends. Um, it's an yeah, it's an awesome community that you're never going to regret getting involved in. I've never thought one time this is crap. It's always been great. And they'll push you hard, and you'll become a version of yourself that exceeds anything that you ever thought that you would be. So yeah, do it. Do it.
Bringing a tear to my eyes.
And Jack's great.
And then I guess maybe to like a bit of a younger audience, like what would your advice be to like a 15-year-old Georgia who's maybe you just starting out doing CrossFit? So they're kind of in the gym and doing CrossFit, but what like they're thinking about, oh, do I do it? Do it competitively?
I think if you are passionate about something, and you're not sure if you could do it, you can do anything that you set your mind to. So if you're unsure, if you don't know, but you want to do it, give it a go. Even if you don't get to this level and you get to that level, that's still flipping good achievement. So just yeah, you're stronger than you think you are, you're capable more than you think you are. So if you're willing to put the time and the effort into something, do it. But have a great time while you're doing it. Um, yeah, yeah.
Love it. Thank you very much for your time, Georgia. That was
No, it's
wonderful.
been great. Hopefully I didn't speak shit the whole time.
No, it was wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. That was, yeah, great. Thank you.
Always my pleasure.
I'll just